Hello friends, today we're going to talk about episodes 3 and 4 of season 2 of The Handmaid's Tale. June, who has been in hiding for 2 months, goes for a run to keep herself in good physical shape. She stops at an improvised memorial. June doesn't want the victims of the new regime to be forgotten. Meanwhile, Moira is exercising in Canada at the shelter where refugees live. Luke is trying to get a rescued woman to speak, but she remains silent. There are rumors that an invasion is being prepared through New York. June remembers how in her childhood her mother took her to a protest where women were fighting for their rights. The participants threw pieces of paper into a fire, each one with the name of a man who committed crimes against women and went unpunished. Nick wakes up. It's time for him to go. Before leaving, they hug, and he tells June she needs to prepare for relocation. There's still no news about the whereabouts of June's daughter. Moira continues helping Gilead refugees adapt to their new life. One man confesses that back in Gilead, he was one of the eyes. He says it wasn't his choice. Moira reassures him that with time, things will get easier. Hearing a noise, June goes to check what's going on. Someone has come to pick her up. On the way, she remembers visiting her mother, who was a doctor, and suffered alongside other women due to radical groups. In the present, June is brought to some warehouse where she's told to wait for others to arrive. Looking around, she realizes it used to be Boston Airport. A stranger appears. He explains that a pilot is smuggling goods into Canada and that the plane will arrive tomorrow. June will have to stay in a safe place overnight with trusted people. Suddenly, the man gets a message and starts cursing. Something's gone wrong. He tells June to go back, apologizes, and tries to leave. But she steps in front of him, blocking his way, refusing to be abandoned. Eventually, the man gives in and, risking everything, takes her with him. They arrive at a house, and she is led upstairs. June hears unfamiliar voices and moves silently on tiptoe. She realizes that ordinary people, so-called econo people, live here, regular Gilead citizens. The man's family also lives here. When his wife Heather sees June, she becomes frightened and upset. Left alone with their son, Adam, June begins playing toy cars with him. She's warmed by the sight of such an innocent and carefree child. His mother tells him to get dressed. Then she starts accusing June of abandoning her own child and becoming a handmaid. Heather doesn't understand that June didn't choose that life willingly. The family is getting ready for church. The man explains that they must publicly demonstrate their faith. Before he leaves, June thanks him again. She remembers a conversation with her mother. Her mom didn't want her to marry Luke because she believed the country was heading toward disaster. Her mother insisted that real change happened on the streets, not by playing house at home. In the present, there was a knock at the door. It was the neighbors. June, in a panic, hid under the bed. There, she found a book and nearly broke down in tears. She once loved her job as an editor so much. Anxiety overwhelms June. She can't stop thinking about her child. On top of that, it's almost 5 o'clock, and the hosts still haven't returned. She remembers how Aunt Lydia used to lecture the handmaids. She said that only through repentance for their sins could humanity earn the Lord's forgiveness. On one of the slides shown during a lesson, June saw her mother working hard in the colonies. At night, she discussed it with Moira. All female scientists and doctors in Gilead had been detained. June realizes her mother always knew this would happen, and she was right. They should have started fighting back earlier. June had waited and hoped for the best, but now she is done waiting. Filled with determination, she changes into Heather's clothes, looks out the window, gathers everything she needs, and leaves. June tries to walk down the street unnoticed. She successfully boards a train. Checking the map, she sees she's on the right path. After getting off the train, June quietly separates from the crowd and finds herself in the same forest where she was once separated from her daughter. But in the end, she has no choice but to pull herself together and keep moving forward. June manages to reach the plane. Meanwhile, Moira is relaxing in a bar. Everything is different here. People are free. A woman begins flirting with Moira, and later they sneak off to the bathroom together. Later that evening, in the shared apartment, Moira and Luke laugh at the dry humor of their quiet roommate. That night, the pilot arrives, but at first he doesn't believe that June is the handmaid they've been waiting for. Then she shows him the scar on her ear, left from the removal of her tag. Suddenly, another man appears. He once transported Commander Wells. He is also planning to escape from Gilead. It is incredibly painful for June to leave Gilead without her daughter Hannah. and she misses her mother deeply. Suddenly, gunfire erupts on the plane. One of the men is shot. Regime forces arrive. They arrest the pilot, the driver, and June herself. She resists, but the odds are against her. In the next scenes, we see June chained beside a bed. Aunt Lydia enters and brings the red handmaid's dress. When June is called Offred, she firmly reminds them of her real name. Aunt Lydia informs her that, by the mercy of Commander Waterford, she's been granted a probation period. June must now behave submissively. Otherwise, once she gives birth, she could be considered dangerous, and that will have consequences. June is taken back to the house of her former masters. Fred welcomes her return. Soon Serena appears. June makes it clear she isn't afraid. It's difficult for her to return to that bedroom, which symbolizes her imprisonment. When Serena enters the room, she grabs June. Those 92 days had been a real trial for her. June tells her that the baby will only be safe if she herself is safe. Before bed, June was taking a bath. Aunt Lydia entered without warning to supervise the process. June's belly had already started to show. The next morning, Aunt Lydia woke her up, ordered her to get dressed, and said she would be waiting downstairs. After she left, Rita returned June's package, the same letters. Rita couldn't keep them anymore because if they were discovered, it could be dangerous for her. In the kitchen, the Marthas were preparing a festive table. Lydia said it was a special day. Everyone wanted to celebrate the return of the baby. There, June also saw Nick. Their exchanged glance did not go unnoticed by Serena. When June was forced to drink some kind of nutrient-rich beverage to the last drop, she became ill. She couldn't hold it in and vomited directly onto the table. Guests began arriving at the Waterford home. Everyone was giving Serena gifts in anticipation of the baby's birth. Some of the women complained that Serena had missed the first trimester. June loudly announced that the baby had started moving just the day before. Meanwhile, the commanders were entertaining themselves with shooting practice. Among them was Warren, the one who lost his hand due to his relationship with Janine. Serena was smoking outside. Aunt Lydia reassured her that feeling jealous of pregnant handmaids was normal and that the Lord would forgive it. She also advised her to quit smoking. It was harmful to the child. June managed to talk to one of the handmaids. She learned that her escape had caused an uproar. Glenerva, who had once defended Janine, was severely punished. Her ability to speak had been taken away. Later, June and the commanders took part in an official bonding ritual symbolizing a family union. June didn't want to go, but Aunt Lydia insisted. Serena's and June's hands were tied together with red and blue ribbons. June remembered when Annie, Luke's ex-wife, once approached her. She asked June to step aside because she wanted to save her marriage. June didn't want to talk about it, but Annie kept insisting, believing Luke was just playing with her emotions. But June didn't want to hear any of it. At home, she overheard Luke talking to Annie on the phone, telling her clearly to leave them alone. June felt guilty, but Luke assured her he had never loved anyone the way he loved her. In the present, Serena was going through gifts for the baby, toys and baby clothes. June recalled how, during the celebration of her daughter's birth, they donated half of the presents to others. These words enraged Serena. She slapped the Martha who had come to help. Aunt Lydia quickly took the shocked handmaid away. Serena went into her husband's office and declared that she would not tolerate such behavior in her home. But the commander calmed her down. They couldn't send the handmaid back to the Red Center, as too many weeks of the pregnancy had already passed. Aunt Lydia took June on a walk. She reminded her not to waste this last chance. Otherwise, she would face the same fate as the people hanging on the wall. There, June saw a familiar man. His wife, to atone for his guilt, had agreed to become a handmaid, but now their son would never see his mother again. Lydia said that it was all June's fault. Her selfish desires had led to these consequences. According to Lydia, it was a lesson from the Lord. That evening, June knelt before Fred and Serena Waterford, and in Aunt Lydia's presence, asked for permission to stay in their home, but the look in her eyes revealed she was not yet completely broken. Serena didn't stop smoking, even when she was near June. She entered the handmaid's room. Her hair wasn't done in the traditional braid. Serena lay down beside her, embraced June, and placed her hand on her belly. She quietly whispered to the baby, "Mommy loves you." Left alone, June lay down on the floor in the closet. Memories flooded her. She remembered how Annie, Luke's former wife, had looked at her, at Luke, and at their child. June felt guilt for everything that had happened. The next day, outside, Nick tried to talk to her, but June walked past in silence, not even stopping. The future once again seemed bleak and hopeless. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.